What if I told you that there is one word, just a single word, that can change your relationship with money forever? A word so powerful that when spoken with intention, it doesn't just attract money, it multiplies it. Sounds unbelievable, yet for centuries, successful Jewish communities have quietly practiced this principle, and today you're about to discover it. Money, for most people, is nothing more than a tool, something to spend, save, or chase. But the moment you begin to see money as a blessing, your entire relationship with it starts to transform. This shift may seem small on the surface, just a change in wording, but in reality, it is a deep psychological and emotional reprogramming that influences every financial decision you make. When money is viewed only as currency, it often carries stress. People associate it with pressure, bills, survival, and constant worry about not having enough. This creates a scarcity mindset, where no matter how much money comes in, it never feels sufficient. You may earn more, but your anxiety grows with it. You may save more, but fear of losing it keeps you from feeling secure. In this state, money controls you. But when you begin to see money as a blessing, something powerful happens. A blessing is not just an object, it carries meaning, purpose, and gratitude. It is something you receive with appreciation and use with intention. By labeling money as a blessing, you remove the emotional weight of fear and replace it with a sense of responsibility and awareness. This shift changes how you behave. Instead of impulsively spending money, you start asking yourself whether your actions honor the blessing you've received. Instead of wasting it on things that bring temporary satisfaction, you begin to think long-term. You naturally become more mindful, more disciplined, and more focused on growth. Seeing money as a blessing also strengthens your sense of gratitude. Even small amounts begin to feel significant. A small earning is no longer just a little money, it becomes a sign of opportunity, a seed that can grow into something greater. This mindset trains your brain to notice value everywhere. You start recognizing chances to earn, save, and invest that you may have ignored before. There is also a deeper emotional effect. Gratitude reduces stress and increases clarity. When you are grateful, you think better. You make wiser decisions. You don't act out of panic or desperation. This calm and focused state allows you to manage money more effectively, which naturally leads to better outcomes. Another important aspect is respect. When something is seen as a blessing, it is treated with care. People who view money this way tend to avoid careless behavior. They don't take unnecessary risks, and they don't neglect their financial responsibilities. Instead, they become intentional with every choice, knowing that how they handle money reflects how they value it. Over time, this mindset creates a powerful cycle. Gratitude leads to better decisions. Better decisions lead to growth. Growth reinforces gratitude, and this cycle continues, building not just wealth, but stability and confidence. It's important to understand that this is not about superstition or magic. Money does not multiply simply because you say a word. It multiplies because that word changes how you think, and your thinking changes your actions, and your actions determine your results. In the end, the difference between someone who struggles financially and someone who builds lasting wealth often comes down to perception. One sees money as a constant problem to solve, the other sees it as a blessing to manage and grow. That single shift from currency to blessing can quietly reshape your habits, your emotions, and your future. And once that shift happens, money no longer feels like something you chase. It becomes something you attract, protect, and multiply with purpose. There is a powerful principle that quietly shapes the lives of those who build lasting wealth. What you bless, grows. At first, it may sound like a simple or even symbolic idea, but beneath it lies a deep psychological truth that affects how you think, how you act, and ultimately how much money you are able to multiply. Most people have a habit of focusing on what they lack. They look at their finances and immediately think about what is missing. More income, more savings, more security. This constant attention on lack creates a negative loop. When your mind is trained to see what is missing, it becomes blind to what is possible. Opportunities pass by unnoticed. Small gains feel insignificant, and progress feels slow, even when it's happening. But when you begin to bless your money, when you consciously appreciate it, respect it, and acknowledge its value, you interrupt that negative loop. You shift your focus from scarcity to abundance, and that shift is where growth begins. Blessing money does not mean blindly praising it or ignoring financial problems. It means recognizing its importance and treating it with intention. It means valuing even the smallest amount instead of dismissing it, because small amounts, when handled correctly, are the seeds of larger wealth. Think about it this way. If someone receives a small amount of money and treats it carelessly, they are training themselves to be careless with larger amounts as well. But if someone receives that same small amount and treats it with respect, saving it, investing it, or using it wisely, they are building the habits required to handle greater wealth in the future. This is how growth happens. Not suddenly, but gradually, through consistent behavior. When you bless what you have, you naturally become more aware. You start paying attention to where your money goes. You question unnecessary expenses. You look for ways to increase value rather than just consume it. This awareness leads to smarter decisions, and smarter decisions lead to multiplication. There is also a strong emotional component to this principle. When you appreciate your money, you reduce the stress and fear associated with it. Fear often leads to poor decisions, impulsive spending, avoidance of financial planning, or hesitation in taking beneficial opportunities. But appreciation creates a sense of control. It allows you to think clearly and act with confidence. Over time, this mindset begins to influence your environment as well. People who respect and value money tend to attract better opportunities, not because of luck, but because they are prepared to recognize and act on them. They are more disciplined, more focused, and more intentional, which makes them naturally more capable of growth. Another important aspect of blessing is consistency. It's not something you do once, it's something you practice daily. Every time money enters your life, you acknowledge it. Every time you use it, you do so with awareness. These repeated actions reinforce a mindset that supports growth, and slowly, almost quietly, things begin to change. You waste less. You save more. You invest smarter. You notice opportunities earlier. You recover from setbacks faster. All of these small improvements compound over time, creating a significant difference in your financial life. It's important to understand that growth does not always mean immediate increase. Sometimes it shows up as stability, as reduced stress, or as better control over your finances. But these are all forms of growth, and they create the foundation for larger financial success. In the end, what you bless grows because your attention, energy, and actions are directed toward it. You nurture it, you protect it, you develop it, and anything that receives consistent care and focus has no choice but to expand. So the principle is simple, but its impact is profound. When you stop ignoring or undervaluing your money and start treating it as something worthy of appreciation, you activate a process that leads to real, lasting multiplication. Most people believe that money comes first and mindset comes later. They think that once they earn more, save more, or achieve financial success, their thinking will automatically improve. But the truth works in the opposite direction. Mindset comes before money. The way you think about wealth, value, and opportunity determines how much money you are able to create, manage, and keep. If your mindset is built on fear, doubt, or scarcity, even large amounts of money will not last. You might earn well, but you will overspend. You might receive opportunities, but you will hesitate or misuse them. You might save for a while, but eventually your habits will bring you back to the same financial position. This is why some people win lotteries and lose everything, while others start with very little and steadily build lasting wealth. Your beliefs act like a filter. They shape how you see the world and how you respond to it. If you believe that money is hard to earn, you will unconsciously avoid opportunities that require risk or effort. If you believe that wealth is not meant for you, you will sabotage your own progress, often without realizing it. On the other hand, if you believe that money can grow, that opportunities are everywhere, and that you are capable of managing wealth, your actions will begin to align with those beliefs. This alignment is what creates results. A strong financial mindset is not about blind positivity or pretending that challenges do not exist. It is about developing clarity, discipline, and long-term thinking. It means understanding that money is a resource that must be managed wisely, not something that appears and disappears randomly. When you adopt this perspective, you stop reacting emotionally to money and start approaching it strategically. For example, Someone with a weak mindset might see extra income as an excuse to spend more. But someone with a strong mindset sees it as an opportunity to grow by saving, investing, or reinvesting in something that will generate future returns. The same situation produces completely different outcomes because the thinking behind it is different. Mindset also affects how you handle setbacks. Financial challenges are inevitable. There will be losses, mistakes, and unexpected expenses, but your reaction to these moments determines whether they become temporary obstacles or long-term problems. A negative mindset leads to panic, blame, or avoidance. A strong mindset leads to learning, adjustment, and resilience. Another key element is patience. Building wealth is rarely a quick process. It requires consistent effort over time. Without the right mindset, people become frustrated when results are not immediate. They give up too early or jump from one strategy to another, never allowing anything to fully develop. But with a disciplined mindset, you understand that growth takes time, and you stay committed even when progress feels slow. Your mindset also influences your daily habits. Small actions, like tracking expenses, saving regularly, or making thoughtful purchases, may seem insignificant, but they compound over time. These habits are not driven by external pressure, they are driven by internal beliefs. When you truly believe in the importance of managing money well, these actions become natural, not forced. It's important to recognize that changing your financial situation without changing your mindset is like building on a weak foundation. It may work temporarily, but it will not last. Real sustainable wealth requires internal change first. Once your thinking evolves, your actions follow, and once your actions change, your results begin to reflect that shift. In the end, money is not just a financial issue, it is a mental one. It responds to how you think, how you decide, and how you behave over time. When you develop a mindset that supports growth, discipline, and awareness, money becomes easier to manage and multiply. So before focusing on how to get more money, it is far more important to focus on how you think about it. Because when your mindset is right, money is not something you struggle to hold on to. It becomes something you are fully capable of growing and sustaining. Gratitude is one of the most powerful forces in shaping not only your life, but also your financial reality. While most people view money as something to acquire, spend, or save, they often overlook the emotional energy that accompanies it. Gratitude transforms the way you perceive money, the decisions you make with it, and the opportunities that come your way. It is not just a feeling, it is a mindset that directly affects your ability to attract, multiply, and maintain wealth. When you are grateful for even the smallest amounts of money that come into your life, you start to see it differently. Instead of seeing a paycheck as a routine or a gift as insignificant, you recognize every form of money as meaningful. This acknowledgement shifts your perception from one of scarcity to one of abundance. Scarcity leads to fear, stress, and poor financial choices. Abundance, fueled by gratitude, opens your mind to possibilities, solutions, and strategies that you might otherwise overlook. Gratitude has a practical effect on behavior as well. People who cultivate gratitude are naturally more mindful of their spending habits. They are less likely to waste resources on things that provide only temporary satisfaction. Instead, they prioritize actions that align with long-term growth, such as saving, investing, or reinvesting in opportunities that yield higher returns. By valuing what they have, they automatically make better financial decisions, which leads to wealth accumulation over time. The psychological impact of gratitude is also profound. Studies in behavioral science show that gratitude reduces stress and increases mental clarity. Financial stress is one of the most common sources of anxiety, and it can cloud judgment, leading to impulsive or reactive decisions. When you practice gratitude, your emotional state shifts. You feel calmer, more centered, and more confident in handling money. This mental clarity allows you to think strategically rather than react emotionally, which is a critical difference between temporary wealth and lasting financial stability. Gratitude also acts as a magnet for opportunity. When you appreciate the money and resources already in your life, you begin to notice opportunities to grow them. This could be a business opportunity, an investment, a career move, or even a creative idea to increase income. People who focus on what they have, rather than what they lack, are more alert, more proactive, and more capable of recognizing value. In essence, Gratitude tunes your mind to see potential where others see limitation. Moreover, gratitude enhances discipline. Wealth is rarely created through chance. It is built through consistent, disciplined actions. By recognizing money as valuable and worthy of appreciation, you naturally cultivate habits that protect and grow it. Simple actions, like tracking expenses, budgeting carefully, saving a portion of income, or thoughtfully investing, are all easier to maintain when you have a mindset of gratitude. What feels like obligation when you are indifferent, feels purposeful and rewarding when you are grateful. Another important aspect of gratitude is its ability to shift focus from lack to abundance. Most people live in a cycle of never enough income, never enough savings, never enough security. Gratitude interrupts this cycle by redirecting attention to what is already present. When you focus on what you already have, you create a positive feedback loop. Appreciation leads to better decisions lead to growth, and growth reinforces further gratitude. Gratitude also affects your interactions with others. People who are grateful tend to treat others with respect and fairness. In financial matters, this can translate into stronger business relationships, better negotiations, and mutually beneficial partnerships. Money multiplies, not just through individual effort, but through positive interactions with people who can support, advise, or collaborate with you. Gratitude strengthens those connections. Ultimately, practicing gratitude transforms money from a neutral tool into a dynamic force for growth. It is not about pretending challenges do not exist or ignoring financial realities. It is about cultivating awareness, appreciation, and respect for the resources you already have. This mindset encourages responsible actions, attracts opportunities, reduces stress, and compounds small decisions into significant financial growth over time. When you approach money with gratitude, you are not only increasing your ability to manage it effectively, you are creating an environment where wealth can flourish naturally. Gratitude shifts the energy, focus, and habits required to multiply resources, and in the long run, this simple yet profound mindset becomes the cornerstone of lasting financial abundance. Building lasting wealth is rarely about sudden windfalls or extraordinary luck. It is about small, consistent habits that compound over time. Many people focus on grand gestures, big investments, risky ventures, or one-time opportunities, believing that wealth comes from dramatic moves. The reality, however, is that true financial growth is the result of daily choices, repeated consistently, that align with a mindset of awareness, discipline, and purpose. Small habits are deceptively powerful because they shape your life almost imperceptibly at first. For example, setting aside even a modest portion of your income every month may seem insignificant initially. Yet when repeated over months and years, this simple habit can grow into a substantial sum. Similarly, regularly tracking expenses may appear tedious, but it ensures you are aware of where your money goes, allowing you to redirect it toward growth opportunities rather than unnecessary spending. Habits compound, and compounding is one of the most reliable mechanisms for building wealth. Consistency is the secret ingredient. One-off efforts or sporadic attention to money rarely lead to meaningful results. It is the regularity of your actions, saving a small portion of income, investing wisely, paying off debt incrementally, or seeking knowledge about financial growth that creates momentum. Each small action reinforces the next. Over time, these repeated behaviors develop into a disciplined financial routine that becomes almost automatic, reducing mistakes and increasing efficiency. Another critical aspect is awareness. Small habits work best when coupled with conscious attention. Mindlessly performing actions without reflection limits their effectiveness. For instance, saving a set amount is beneficial, but actively reviewing your spending, understanding where money can be better allocated, and making adjustments amplifies results. Conscious habits allow you to learn from experience, refine your approach, and make incremental improvements that compound significantly over time. Habits also shape mindset. Repeated positive financial actions reinforce beliefs about money. When you consistently save, invest, or manage expenses wisely, you are training your mind to value money, appreciate its potential, and recognize opportunities for growth. This reinforcement creates a psychological feedback loop. Disciplined behavior strengthens a growth-oriented mindset, which in turn encourages even more disciplined actions. In essence, habits and mindset feed each other, building a foundation for sustainable wealth. Another key element is resilience. Life is unpredictable, and setbacks are inevitable. Small, consistent habits act as a buffer against these challenges. Someone who has cultivated a habit of saving, even modestly, will have a financial cushion during emergencies. Someone who habitually invests and diversifies will be less shaken by market fluctuations. The power of consistent habits lies in their ability to create stability, which allows you to navigate challenges without derailing long-term goals. Furthermore, small habits build confidence. When you see the cumulative results of consistent effort, you begin to trust your own ability to manage and grow money. This confidence encourages you to take calculated risks, pursue opportunities, and think strategically rather than reactively. It shifts your relationship with money from one of anxiety to one of mastery. Confidence, built habit by habit, becomes a force multiplier for wealth creation. It is also important to recognize that small habits are accessible to everyone. You do not need large amounts of money, special connections, or extraordinary luck to start. What you need is intentionality. By starting small and committing to repeated action, you unlock a process that can outpace sporadic or impulsive efforts. Even modest income can grow substantially when guided by disciplined habits and strategic decisions. Ultimately, wealth is not an accident. It is a byproduct of intention, discipline, and consistency. Each small habit, whether saving a little, monitoring spending, investing thoughtfully, or learning continuously, may seem trivial in isolation, but together, compounded over time, they create exponential results. They transform ordinary financial behavior into extraordinary outcomes. The lesson is simple yet profound. Focus on the process rather than the immediate result. Embrace small habits, repeat them consistently, and allow them to shape your mindset and actions. In time, these tiny steps build momentum, create stability, and multiply wealth in ways that sudden, sporadic actions never can. True financial success is never about one big move. It is about the cumulative power of many small, purposeful actions, repeated day after day, until they become the foundation of your lasting abundance.